Welcome back to my channel, Brainy Bunch. Hope you all are safe in this pandemic situation. Let us start with our series of Python. In our previous video, we discussed regarding help, function, scripting, module, how to write a program by taking a new file, running it with the use of F5. Let us start our today's session. Now in this video, we are going to learn about data types and variables in Python. Let me start with variable definition and usage with some examples. Let us enter into a presentation that is data types in Python part 1, and also we are going to discuss some examples in ideally. Our first slide represents whatever the topics that we are going to discuss in today's session. Our topics are what are variables in Python, variable declaration, data types in Python, some of the types of data types in Python, numerical data types, strings, lists, tuples, sets, dictionaries. And today we are going to learn first one is what are variables in Python. First of all, we need to think why we are using variables in Python. Whenever we are going to do any project or work, let us consider our real life scenario. When you want to share or transfer your money from your Google Pay to your friend's Google Pay, then our money is the value that we are going to assign to our friend. Here, our account itself, let us consider our account is an holder to hold some money, and now this money are transferred to the other account, and you can understand what is the scenario right now. మన మనీ ఎవరి దగ్గర అయితే ఉందో ఆ మనీని ఒక హోల్డర్, అంటే ఇక్కడ మనకి వేరియబుల్ అంటే ఏమర్థం అవుతుందంటే ఒక దాన్ని పట్టుకోవడం అన్నమాట, లేకపోతే ఒక దానిలో స్టోర్ చేసుకోవడం. ఇప్పుడు ఇక్కడ ఎగ్జాంపుల్లో ఏ ఈక్వల్ టు 10 అన్నాం. ఇక 10 అనే వాల్యూని ఏలో స్టోర్ చేసుకుంటున్నాం. అలానే మన మనీని మన అకౌంట్ లో స్టోర్ చేసుకుంటున్నాం. ఇక్కడ అకౌంట్ అనేది ఒక వేరియబుల్ గా అనుకుందాం, మనీ అనేది మన వాల్యూ అనుకుందాం రియల్ లైఫ్ సినారియోలో. అలానే అసలు వేరియబుల్స్ ఎందుకు అవసరం అనుకుంటే, మనం చేసే ప్రాజెక్ట్స్ లో కానీ ప్రోగ్రామ్స్ లో కానీ ఏమన్నా వాల్యూస్ డైరెక్ట్ గా యూజ్ చేయాలనుకున్నప్పుడు వేరియబుల్స్ కి అసైన్ చేసుకోవచ్చు, లేకపోతే రీడ్ చేసుకోవచ్చు. ఇక్కడ వేరియబుల్స్ ఎందుకంటే ఒక మెమరీ లొకేషన్, మన వాల్యూ స్టోర్ చేసుకోవడానికి ప్లేస్ కావాలి కాబట్టి వేరియబుల్స్ ని యూజ్ చేస్తున్నాం. అలానే ఇక్కడ మన మనీని స్టోర్ చేసుకోవడానికి ఒక అకౌంట్ కావాలి కాబట్టి అకౌంట్ నెంబర్ అనే వేరియబుల్ లో మన మనీ స్టోర్ చేసుకుంటున్నాం. అండ్ లెట్స్ start. What is the definitions of variable? In a programming language, a variable is a memory location where you store a value. As I have already taken an example of our account and money, the value that you have stored may change in future according to the specifications. As I had said that money can be withdrawn or deposit or many operations that are in bank accounts, and now our value may get influenced because of the specifications or changes. And in the same way, whatever the variables we have declared in our program can also be changed according to the specifications we had done. An example of variable are, again let me start presentation. And here a variable in Python is created as soon as a value is assigned to it. And whenever I had assigned a value of 10 is assigned to an A is gets created. Here what, ఇప్పుడు ఒక వేరియబుల్ కి ఒక టైప్ ఉండాలి. ఇప్పుడు అకౌంట్ నెంబర్ ఏ టైప్ లో ఉంటుంది? అకౌంట్ నెంబర్ అనేది జస్ట్ నెంబర్స్ లో ఉంటుంది. ఇప్పుడు ఆ నెంబర్స్ లో మళ్ళీ చాలా రకాల టైప్స్ ఉంటాయి. అలానే పైథాన్ లో కూడా దాని టైప్ తెలుసుకోవడానికి టైప్ ఫంక్షన్ యూజ్ చేసి మనం కనుక్కోవచ్చు. అలానే మనం వేరియబుల్స్ ఎన్ని రకాలు డిక్లేర్ చేయొచ్చు, ఎలా డిక్లేర్ చేయొచ్చు అని నెక్స్ట్ స్లైడ్ లో చూద్దాం. C++లో ఎక్స్టర్నల్ కమాండ్స్ ఏమి యూజ్ చేస్తూ డిక్లేర్ చేస్తాం వేరియబుల్స్ ని. ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ ఇంట్ ఏ ఈక్వల్ టు 10. కానీ ఇక్కడ పైథాన్ లో ఎక్స్టర్నల్ కమాండ్స్, ఇక్కడ ఇంట్ ఏ ఈక్వల్ టు 10 అలా అసైన్మెంట్స్ ఏమి ఉండవు. జస్ట్ డిక్లరేషన్స్ ఏంటంటే వాల్యూ అసైన్ చేయడం మాత్రమే. ఇక్కడ చూసిన ఎగ్జాంపుల్ లో ఏ ఈక్వల్ టు 10. ఇప్పుడు దీంట్లో మీకు ఏమన్నా కమాండ్స్ కనిపిస్తున్నాయా? కమాండ్స్ ఏం ఉండవు. పైథాన్‌లో ఎక్స్టర్నల్‌గా, ఎక్స్‌ప్లిసిట్‌గా మనం కమాండ్స్ ఏం యూజ్ చేసి వేరియబుల్‌ని డిక్లేర్ చేయం. సో లెట్ us go to our next slide. పర్టిక్యులర్ వేరియబుల్‌కి పర్టిక్యులర్ డిక్లరేషన్స్ ఉంటాయి. ఇప్పుడు అకౌంట్ నంబర్ అంటే ఖచ్చితంగా నంబర్స్‌తోనే ఉంటుంది. అది అలానే ఉండాలి అని రిస్ట్రిక్షన్ పెట్టినప్పుడు పైథాన్‌లో మనం యూజ్ చేసే ప్రతి వేరియబుల్ ఈ 5 రూల్స్‌ని ఫాలో అవుతూనే ఉండాలి. సో లెట్ us see what are these 5 rules. There are certain rules that we have to keep in mind while declaring a variable. First rule is the variable name cannot start with a number. In our real life, as I had taken an example of account number, according to their use, they had started their number with their variable with a number. But in Python, we need to start our variable with a character or an underscore. Next one is variables and Python are case sensitive. We need to show a difference between small and capitals, that is upper cases and lower cases. They can only contain alphanumeric characters and underscore. As we know, the alphanumeric is a combination of alphabets and numbers, whereas our variable need to be contain only the combination of either alphanumeric characters, either or underscores. No special characters are followed such as hash, dollar, percentile. Only the character underscore or combination of alphanumeric. Except these, and every other special character is treated as an error. And next one, keywords should not be used to declare a variable, as keywords are built in, so they cannot be used to declare our variables and assign values. So these are the 5 rules that we have to keep in mind while declaring a variable in Python. As these rules are same for every language, so no need to bother about it. And these are the data types in Python. There are 2 types of data types. They are immutable and mutable. What is meant by immutable and mutable? Let us take immutable. The name itself indicates that immutable is the sense the object cannot be changed. Whatever the content we have assigned to a variable, that cannot be changed once it is created. Whereas mutable are the objects, they get changed once they are created. So these are the types in immutable and mutable. The types in immutable data types are number, strings, tuples. Whereas mutable we have lists, dictionaries, sets. So let us briefly discuss one by one, and let us start with immutable data types. In today's video, we are going to discuss about these 3 and also examples in ideally. Our first one is number in immutable data type. Under number, these are the 5 classifications we had made in Python. They are integers, float, complex numbers, Boolean, and none. First one is integers. Integers are used to represent a whole number values. Whole numbers, as we all know, that they are going to start with 0 and so on. X is equals to 100, whereas 100 is a whole number, hence it is known as an integer. What is a float? Decimal point values. Here float data types are used to represent a fractional values, and the representation of float values y equals to 10.25. Here itself the integers and float representations. And this is the slide consisting of a complex numbers and Boolean values. Here complex numbers are used to represent an imaginary values, and it ends with a character of j at the end of a number. We can represent or declare the complex numbers in Python as here example follows. Z equals to 10 plus 4j. Boolean. Boolean is used to return either true or false, whatever the condition that you had assigned to your variable, such as n equals to 5 greater than 4. And hence here the condition 5 greater than 4 has become true. So obviously when we are going to print the value of n, it gives the Boolean value true. We can know the type of complex Boolean numbers, integers For example, when I had declared a variable of x equals to 100, as I don't know what is x is equals to 100, we can easily check the x is equal to 100 by typing type of x, and it obviously gives you the type of a number by representing it as a class. In Python, there is a class for every data type, and our values, our variables are instances of that type. We will see the type function in the session after this slides representations. And this is the data type of none. When in my project, if I declared of total 3 variables and used 2 variables, one variable is of no use, and we can use this variable and assign a value of none. If you assign a none, that means there is no value, there is nothing in this. There in Python, especially for none, all the instances, that is all the variables which we have assigned a none, points to the same object, and this is the point you have to be remembered. And we can compare this by using their IDs are nothing but their memory addresses, and this can the in Python memory address can be represented or can be written by using a statement or by using a function called id, and it gives us the id or memory address of a variable. Let us see this in ideally. Next one is strings. As we know that the representation of characters or strings in C++ in C is regarding an ASCII code, and in Python especially the strings are represented in Unicode character. What does Unicode mean? Every character has its own unique code. Whatever the key that you had pressed in your keyboard, corresponding unique key passes to the system and it's get processed, and the number has been typed on the screen, and this is known as Unicode. In Python, string type uses the Unicode standard for representing the characters. Once you observe this example, whatever I had shared to you, in Python, strings can be represented either in single quotes or in double quotes. As I had declared here an example of double quotes. In Python, there is no separate data types to store the characters. So whatever, either you are going to store a character or a string, you are going to store it in a double quotes or in single quotes as a string type. So to access the values in a string, we use the indexes and square brackets. Here itself, I had declared an example of variable s, which is consisting of a value of brainy in the double quotes, as I had said that it was an in single quotes or double quotes, whether it is actually of a string. So brainy. First one is the string in the memory representation. There are two types of indexes to move into your string, that is to left to right index and right to left index. So first one is left to right index. For B, index starts from 0 and D starts from 0, R 1, A 2, and so on Y to 5. And these are the indexes that are assigned left to right index format for our string Baini. And next one, right to left index. Whereas right to left index starts in a negative points and negative numbers, and first y is assigned to a negative number called as -1 and -2, and these are going to get incremented in a right to left index manner. So we can use both the ways to access our values and to represent our values, to print our values. And strings, as I had already said, that they are immutable. Once they are created, they cannot be changed. And these are some operations that we are going to perform on strings, that upper, lower, replace. And this is the variable n equal to brainy bunch that I had used here for showing an operations on a strings. There are three totally: upper, lower, and replace. As we know that upper Here, brainy bunch. All the cases are in the lowercase letters. And this I am going to convert into uppercase letters by using an upper function. So obviously it gives me an uppercase letters. Whereas lower function, as my variable is already in the lowercase letters, as it prints as it is. Now replace is used to find and replace the character. For example, here brainy and bunch separated by a space, and this space I am going to replace with an underscore, that is n dot replace of my empty space comma, and I am going to replace it with empty space of underscore, and this would get successfully executed, as I will show it in ideally after completion of this explanation. And next, tuples. This is the third of data type in an immutable data types. What is a tuple? Tuples are generally a collection of numbers and collection of strings, whatever may be, and tuples are not going to change once if they are created. So there are no operations to insert or delete whatever the values they are in the tuples. First of all, tuple is an ordered collection, and values we can access through the indexes, as we had seen the format of index in string representation in our previous slide. And tuple, we can have duplicate values. To declare the tuple, we use the round brackets. As an example of tuple equals to 1010 is an implemented by creating an round brackets. As tuple is unchangeable, once we have declared it, we can ever cannot perform any operations to change the values in a tuple. But there are two operations that we can get some information regarding the tuple of items what we have in our created tuple, such as, for example, tuple equals to 10, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. As tuple is an ordered collection, so the numbers are also in ordered collection, that is from small to big. And here tuple dot count. Here count function is used to return the number which gets repeated how many times. And let me pass a number of 10. So tuple dot count of 10. Here the 10 has repeated 2 times. So the function returns to me a number as our output is 2. And tuple dot index, it is going to return the position of the number which I had passed to the index function. So index of 30 is nothing but 0, 1, 2, 3. So it returns to me a 3. So here itself completes our presentation of immutables data types. So let us start by discussing some examples regarding variables, variable declarations, data types in Python. Open your ideally, and I'm going to declare a variable called as d equal to 100, as it had successfully done. So let me print the value of d. It has successfully printed 100. As you all remember the rules of variables, the first letter need to start with an underscore and next can be followed by anything. So I'm going to print underscore d1 and assign a value of 20. So let us see whether it executes or not. It has successfully executed because we had followed the rules, whatever we had seen in before. So let me print that value. It had given me an output of successful 20. So let us see the false case. That is, the first letter is not of underscore of any other special symbols. So let me take a dollar as a special symbol and a equals to 14. So let us see whether, see, it has shown me an syntax error because I did not follow the rules of declaration of a variable. So this is a false version, and print of underscore d1 are successful versions. So variable declaration has successfully completed. So let us see number, and their subcharacter is integers float. Let me declare a variable called a equals to 10. As I had already said that integers are whole numbers. For example, I'm supposed to see the type of a variable A. So type of A, what it gives, let us see. It gives the type and returns class int. Here, every variable is an instance of some other class data type. Here, a equal to 10. So we can consider that a is an instance of class int. So let me declare float 10.25. Enter. Successfully completed. Print the value. Okay. Then check the type of an variable, whatever I had declared the b. So it became float. Here we can consider that b is an instance of float. And next one, c equals to any complex number I'm going to declare 10 plus 5j, as I had said the tens with and j. And let us check the type of c. It gives complex because it is representation under of complex. And next one, Boolean. Let me take a variable called as v equals to, let us say 3 greater than 2. Normally 3 is always greater than 2, as well as you know that the answer is true. So let us see. Successfully compiled, interpreted. Print of v gives as a Boolean value. So let us check the type of a variable v, what it gives. It belongs to the class bool. So v is an instance of Boolean type. And this completely shows whatever the numbers we had in this Python. So next, let's go to complex numbers as already completed. None. So I had said that none points to the same memory address how many variables they had created. So let us see. Let me clear my screen and again open ideally. And this finally of my ideally, let me declare a equal to none. N should be capital. Another variable none. And I am taking a third one of none. So this shows completely successfully interpreted. So let me print a, print b, as I did not assign any value, but so it has shown none for every 3 variables a, b, c. Now I am going to check whether a, b, c are pointing to the same memory allocations or not. So let us print id of every variable, id of a, and it has given the number of 10 digits. And let us check an id of b also and compare both the ids whether they are pointing to the same object or not. As you are going to see clearly that they are pointing to the same object obviously. And let us check the third one also. So this had represented or said about that none variables are pointing to the same object. So there is only one instance type of none type class. So let us check the type of none also. It has given the none type. So here itself completes totally about numbers. And the next one is strings. Let me declare a variable of g equals to, in double quotes, brainy bunch. Successfully interpreted. And next I'm going to print the variable. It had displayed to me clearly. And now I'm going to see the indexes of one character. That is, I'm going to print off g of, I'm going to display the index of a. 2. So let me execute it. So I'm going to get the output as a. Now I'm going to access range, that is from one particular index to other particular index. It is left index and this is right index. See, let us see what was an character that we are going to get here. I'm getting a character of I. As I had said that there are operations on strings. The first operation on string is Our variable is C. I am going to convert it in uppercase. So brainy bunch is going to display it in an uppercase characters. And now let us see lower. Our value is already in lower. So let us see what would happen. As it displayed as it is whatever the value I had assigned to it because it is of lower case. And next I'm going to upper, lower, and then replace the space whatever that is between brainy and bunch, comma. I am going to replace it with index underscore. Successfully replaced my character, so it gives the underscore between the space whatever I had mentioned it in value. So these are the operations on strings. Indexes also we had extracted from our original string. This completes our operations successfully. String completed. And negative index I need to show. Wait for a second. Z dot. I need to show a negative index. So index of -1. So let us see what would happen. Sorry. Again I'll Z dot index of. Let me print it again. Index of now. Print of G of -1. This would get the correct result. H. It has given me H. Negative numbering starts from right to left. So H is the first word that the index starts from right to left. So H has displayed. Here itself completes the operations on strings. And next, our topic operations and tuples. Tuples are immutables and changeable. First, let me declare a tuple. Within open parenthesis, I set 10, 10, 20, 20, 30, 20, 40, 50, 60, 70. So this is the tuples in an increasing order, and let us see it gets interpreted or not. Successfully interpreted. Now I am going to print the tuple, print of tuple. So it has given the values whatever I had displayed in the tuple variable. So let us, there are no operations whether to insert or delete the values in a tuple, but there are some functions to know the index and count of a variable number. Tuple dot count of 10. Let us see the count of 10. As it successfully gives the repetitive times number of 10. As I had declared 10 two times, so it has given the result of 2. And let us see the index of some other random number like 70. Index of 70. It has given 9, whereas the index of 70 is also 9. So guys, here itself is today's sessions. Let us discuss the mutable data types in our next sessions. Thank you all. Have a nice day. Please do like, share, and subscribe. Stay home, stay safe.